I walk slowly along a quiet road. The sky is clear and the sun is soft and warm on my face. I feel the wind as it moves gently through my hair. The world around me is full of colours, sounds and people. There is laughter in some places and silence in others. I see trees, birds and people walking by. Life is moving everywhere. But inside me, I feel something still and calm. At this moment, I stop and ask myself a simple question. Who am I? What do I want in my life? These questions seem easy at first, but they are not. They are deep questions that take time to answer. For many years, I lived without asking them. I woke up, went to school, talked to people, did my work, and went to bed. The days passed one after another, like pages in a book I never really read. Then, one quiet evening, I looked in the mirror and asked myself again, do I know the person I see? That was the beginning of a new journey in my life. It was not a journey to a new place. It was a journey inside myself. A journey to learn who I really am. A journey to understand my heart and to grow as a person. In the beginning, I did not understand the word self-awareness. It was a new word for me, but slowly, step by step, I started to learn what it meant. Self-awareness is not something you can see or touch. It is something you feel deep inside. It is the light that helps you find your way when everything feels dark. It is the voice inside that says, this is how I feel, or this is what I need. I started with small questions. I asked myself how I felt each day. Sometimes I felt happy, and I tried to understand why. Other times I felt sad or tired, and I asked myself what made me feel that way. These questions were small, but they helped me see the world inside me. I realized that my emotions are like the sky. Sometimes there are clouds, sometimes there is sunshine, and sometimes it rains. All of these feelings are natural. I do not need to fight them. I only need to understand them. As I learned more about myself, I started to see the parts of me that I liked. I saw that I enjoy quiet mornings and soft music. I found that I love to help others and that I feel strong when I am kind. But I also saw parts of myself that were harder to accept. I noticed that I get upset when people do not listen to me. I found that I sometimes say things too quickly when I am tired or hurt. These parts of me were not easy to see. They made me feel small and weak. But I told myself something important. I told myself that it is okay to have good and bad sides. I am a human being, not a perfect person. I can grow, I can change, and so I began to grow. Growth is not loud or fast. It does not come in one big moment. It is quiet and slow, like a plant growing under the sun. It needs care. It needs love and patience. I did not change in one day. I changed slowly, through small actions. I began writing in a notebook. I wrote about my day, my feelings, and my dreams. I started to take quiet walks just to listen to my thoughts. I gave myself time to rest. I allowed myself to say no when I needed space. These small actions helped me understand myself more. I began to see what brings me peace. I saw what makes me feel strong. I learned that I enjoy being creative. I like to write, to draw, and to read. I also learned that I need time alone sometimes. I do not always need to talk. Silence can be full of meaning. There were still difficult days. Sometimes I felt like I was not moving forward. I made mistakes. I said something I should not have said. I forgot to listen. I felt tired or confused. But each time, I reminded myself, you are learning. This is part of the journey. I did not give up. I forgave myself, and I tried again. One day, I looked at myself and smiled. I saw a person who is not perfect, but who is trying. I saw someone who is learning to be honest, kind, and strong. I saw someone who accepts mistakes, but also wants to grow. I realized that I was no longer hiding from my feelings. I was no longer afraid of who I am. I was starting to become the real me. And that, I believe, is one of the most beautiful things in life, to become who you truly are. As I became more self-aware, my relationships with others also began to change. When I understand my own feelings, I can understand others more easily. I learned to listen with more care. I learned to be patient with people because I know that everyone has something they are going through. Every person has their own worries and fears. We all have hopes. We all want to be seen and understood. Now, when someone is upset or quiet, I try not to judge them. I ask, maybe something is hard for them today? I do not always have the right words, but I try to be kind. I try to be present. I try to give love, even in small ways. I have learnt that kindness is a way of growing together. People sometimes ask me, how do you change? How do you grow? I always say the same thing. Start with one small step. Ask yourself how you feel. Be honest, even if the truth is hard. Write down your thoughts. Talk to a friend. Take time to be alone. Do one kind thing for yourself each day. You do not need to rush. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to begin. Growth is not a race. It is a gentle path. You may fall, you may feel lost, but every time you stand up again, you become a little stronger. Every time you learn something new about yourself, you grow. There is something else I have learned. Challenges are not bad. They are part of life. Sometimes, when we face something hard, we learn more than when life is easy. When we lose something, we understand how much it meant. When we feel pain, we grow in strength. Each problem is also a teacher. Each hard moment shows us what really matters. In those moments, I ask myself, what can I learn from this? Even when I feel afraid or tired, I keep going. I tell myself, this is not the end, it is only a step. Now, when I look at my life, I feel thankful. I am not where I want to be yet, but I am walking. I am moving forward, and I am doing it with open eyes and an open heart. If you ask me today, who are you? I will answer with a smile. I will say, I am someone who is learning. I am someone who is growing. I am myself. And that is enough.